walk, he was suggesting that, hey, we should write it in the local languages. Prabhupada was saying English is what did he say? English is the major language of the world. So this is
Universal.
universal language. So he kind of chastised him. He said, if you want to learn, you learn in English.
So Prabhupada confirms this.
Yes, it's confirmed.
So then we can understand that all of these language translations is just like giving a man that has a bad back a cane so he can begin to walk again. But it's not like that's the final conclusion for his good health.
Right.
But we're not going to expect South America to suddenly speak English.
Of course
You know,
not. Yeah. We give
not yet.
them.
But get in 1,000 years, probably so. Because our movement will become predominant culture of the world. Prabhupada will be a prominent cultural figure so far beyond what currently or even hundreds of years ago Jesus was considered to be. Prabhupada will be a million miles beyond that. Million
Right.
miles. We are still in the raw condition of neophyte ISKCON. ISKCON is neophyte. Therefore, we think, oh, Prabhupada is our guru. No, Prabhupada is Jagat Guru, meaning universe guru, not just our guru. We could say universe guru is my guru, but that would actually be offensive. We have to say, universe guru is the universe guru, and I am his servant,
Yeah.
not
Very
my
cool.
guru. He's not my guru. I'm his. Not he's not mine. I'm his. That's an important distinction.
Yeah. That's why Srila Prabhupada wanted his title to be founder Acharya. Right, Prabhu?
Yes. Well, because he could see how things were going even back in 1974. He could see that everything had, as they say nowadays, gone off the rails.
Right.
They just had gone. So what happened? It was the para attachment that was there, and it created a bond. It created loyalty to Prabhupada. It created great enthusiasm for preaching and gathering devotees, speaking to the devotees, and that having them get fired up and ready to go out and sankirtan and preach. All of the things that we consider excellent and sacred in Krishna consciousness were being done by the devotees, but at the same time, they did not relinquish all of their previous self-identification. He said, well, he's a sannyasi. That means he's not running around with girls. He doesn't have long hair. He's not smoking pot, presumably. There, there he is, the sannyasi. But we don't understand that the sannyasi is still carrying baggage. And he cannot get rid of it immediately. It's a process. And the sannyas is the process for getting rid of 100% baggage, 100% of the baggage. Actually, not just sannyas, any devotee taking diksha, first initiation, not even Brahman initiation, that's his invitation and standard for shedding every aspect of um, material consciousness.
We have another devotee that joined, Raghunath Das. Prabhu, can you introduce yourself kindly, please? We have Nara Narayan speaking. He joined Srila Prabhupada in 1968. Oh, he left.
Is this a Prabhupada Raghunath or a different Raghunath?
It was Raghunath Das. He joined and I think had left. So
1 second. Where did you join?
he joined on Zoom.
Okay. So does he want to say anything?
No, he left. So
Well, that was fast.
yeah. So, anyways, Prabhu, you were talking about Srila Prabhupada being the Jagat Guru. So, the Jagat Guru status. Um, can you share some realizations regarding that?
Yes. 1 second.
No worries.
I was putting fresh battery in the machine.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Okay. I don't know if it's going to be better or not, but at least it's fresh batteries. So, Jagat Guru, let's look into the future 1,000 years from now.
Hmm.
That's 1/10 of the golden age of Kali. So if we are going in 10,000 years into the golden age of Kali, what will Prabhupada be to everyone at that time? Right now, Christianity is like, oh, there's billions of Christians. It's just like now there's billions of Muslims. And of course, probably a couple of billion Hindus or people from India. So the question is, in 1,000 years, how will people regard Srila Prabhupada compared to in 2,000 years from now? How will people regard Srila Prabhupada compared to Jesus or Buddha or Christianity or Judaism or Islam? How will they regard Prabhupada? And I think we can see that, those other religions will be simply in the distant past. It'll be like us talking about was it like when the Romans had religion? What was it like when the Greeks had religion? We study about it in school, but no one is seriously thinking of building a temple to Athena, or to who happens to be Saraswati.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Zeus, of course, is Indra. Varuna
So,
is obviously
so
Poseidon.
whatever we want to do for Srila Prabhupada, we got to do it now in the next few years. Or
Exactly, because we don't want things to get off on the false start.
right.
Because if things get off on a false start, they will become sacred. The false start will become sacred at some point.
Yeah, well, a lot of things have become.
They will put you to death for speaking against the false ISKCON.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of things have become sacred, and a lot of devotees are misled, specifically on the tattva, on the most important subject, and who can be a spiritual master, Diksha Guru in ISKCON. It's all kinds of gurus, all kinds of different conclusions, all kinds of gurus, the gurus being approved.
But the important thing to remember is these gurus are all in ISKCON temples, basically, right? They're not sitting under a tree somewhere.
Right.
They all gather together. They all go to Mayapur. They all go to Vrindavan. They all go here, there, to ISKCON temples. But these ISKCON temples were all Prabhupada's temples, not their temples ever. They were not
Right.
created to be their temple. They were created to be Prabhupada temple. Then the gurus came in, then they took over Prabhupada temple as though they were sons inheriting the wealth of the father. But it's not what happened. That was not the truth of it. The truth of it is, besides the fact that kill guru, become guru means they poisoned him to death to get the temple, the temples are unrelated to the gurus. That's the main point I'm trying to make. That ISKCON temples are unrelated to the ISKCON gurus. Why? Because the temples are perfect and pure. They have the deities, they have the Vasasan, they have everything is perfect. All the seva is all perfect. Everything is wonderful. Unfortunately, it's being done by people that stole the movement first from Prabhupada and then from the world. They stole it from everybody. Why? Because they wanted it to own it themselves. They wanted it to be theirs. If Prabhupada can have a temple, why can't I have a temple? But even now, the bogus gurus, when they are opening temples, they have to open them just like the old ones, Prabhupada temples. So they're making more and more Prabhupada temples without Prabhupada. So that's nice. Because in the future, when the truth is known, when we and hopefully thousands and or hundreds of thousands of others join up with us in wanting the original ISKCON as it is, Krishna consciousness as it is. When could we say ISKCON as it is or Krishna consciousness as it is? Can't hear you.
Whichever one you like, Prabhu. Whichever one you like. Whichever one,
Which
you
one
can
do
use
you like?
both. Interchange. I mean, you're Srila Prabhupada's disciple. You can do anything you like. Any damn thing you like.
As long as we're talking, but when we write, we have
Right.
to be careful.
Right. That's how standard.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. So,
I'd like to introduce Christopher. Christopher is from the West Coast. Christopher, please kindly introduce yourself, Prabhu.
Can you hear me?
someone with
Yes.
a picture
Jai.
of himself.
Hare Krishna.
Jai,
can
Hare
hear-
Krishna.
Hey, yes, I'm just a bhakta. My wife and I, we've never been initiated or anything, but we live in Oregon, and I sort of found Krishna consciousness in Berkeley when I lived there
Jai.
a little while, and but now there's no temple where we live. There's a
Well,
few.
you
there's
are
a
there.
few-
The temple is there already.
Well, we have Prabhupada, a little Prabhupada Murti.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
temple.
Which-
Every
which
town and
city
village.
Do you live in Portland?
We live in Eugene.
Eugene.
Eugene, yes.
I have two sons that are sort of kind of devotees that live in Portland.
Oh yeah.
Krishna, Kirti Raj and Dhananjaya.
Dhananjaya, it's a nice name.
Yeah. So, so you're living in Eugene, Oregon. Did you ever have a temple in Eugene?
I think that they had like not for Prabhupada, for someone else like Narayan. The Narayan,
Oh, I see. Well,
something like that. There was
Yeah.
never, as far as I know, there was never. Actually, there was like a very small house temple that one devotee had. Things like that. But
no, that's fine. That's the way temples were created when I when I was initiated by Prabhupada, and before, to open a temple, you just were in a temple. You came and took initiation, stayed in a temple for 6 months, learned to play harmonium, learned to play mridanga, learned to play kartals, learned all of Prabhupada's sounds in his own personal melodies, and then you go to a new town, rent a storefront, rent an apartment, rent a room, and start a temple that way. And that's the way the temples were in those days. And it was a very successful program. It became what Hayagriva wrote called the Hare Krishna explosion. But the explosion works best when it is unfettered, when it is not chained up by GBC or chained up by ISKCON temple, other ISKCON temples. Because here in Los Angeles, Eudorco, there's one temple in Los Angeles out of millions and millions and millions of people. One temple. There should be 2,500 or 3,000 temples in Los Angeles. 8 million people, I think, in Los Angeles. In 8 million people, if you have like 3,000 temples, it's still not enough for everybody.
yeah,
You see?
yeah.
So, but we have one temple, and the people do not really go to it very often. I mean, the Indians go, but that's about it. So, Christopher, any way to to see what you look like, or you don't have the video?
I don't know. I'm on my phone. I've actually never been on a Zoom before. So let me see. Let me see.
You can do that actually.
Let me see what I can press here.
It says you should have a thing that says join video. It should be a camera with a line through it and a microphone. You're already speaking. So if you
let me
do the video, push that. Well, there's Christopher.
Can you see me?
Yeah, see you clearly.
Okay.
Large
I'm outside.
and clear.
I'm outside actually doing some work. I've been listening to you guys off and on because you've been on regularly. So I subscribed to this Bhakti Singha's channel a while back because it has so much Prabhupada and so much older ISKCON
Well, you may be do
stuff.
it.
And then so you guys start coming on. So I've been listening as I'm working.
What sort of work are you doing?
I'm doing some carpentry projects
But right now you're working also, right? In the dark.
right now. Even I'm working out of the garage right now. But in the evenings as I'm doing things around the house, I've been listening, checking in,
Oh, that's wonderful.
listening for a little while.
You're welcome. The way you say Prabhupada makes me want to talk to encourage you to talk about Prabhupada and to join in our conversation because we welcome you.
Jai.
Thank you.
Yes, and the where did Christopher? Oh, Christopher's there now.
Christopher's still here.
Okay, so you say you and your wife are both interested in. How did you come across Krishna consciousness?
Well, when I was younger, a couple of times someone had brought me to a temple, like in Florida, in Tallahassee. I think once in New Orleans, I had prasadam at the temple there. A couple of times when I was younger, I knew that it was something that I knew that it existed, but I didn't really have any understanding of it. And I had maybe a Bhagavad Gita a couple of times that I tried to read, but I wasn't really around devotees or a temple. But then when I came to Berkeley, maybe almost 10 years ago, I guess, I found out there was a big temple there. So I started going. And then so for about 1 year, when I was in Berkeley, I went to the temple pretty regularly. And that was pretty much all the association and training, I guess, that I
That's
got.
wonderful.
But I was kind of a wild guy, I wasn't like a
Who isn't wild?
yeah, well, well, I wasn't
What are you saying? You were not following all the four regulative principles?
when I came to Berkeley.
Yeah.
Oh no, absolutely not. I drank beer and ate bad foods and stuff, but I quickly gave all that up.
Well,
That's
Jai.
wonderful.
But
That's all our experiences. We're in the same boat, Prabhu. Don't feel like we're in the same boat.
So, Christopher,
What?
you represent the American of the future,
Jai.
coming in, wild guy, beer, whatever, and then giving it up and then taking up Krishna consciousness. But what we're here to offer, and I think you know this by now, is that we've realized, or we came to discover from careful analysis, that over the years, the Krishna consciousness movement, from the time that Prabhupada started it, and it came up to 1970, there was a lot of tendency. There's what we call para attachment, which means to be caught up in the moon-like rays of the pure devotee of the Lord. Caught up in the moon-like rays means that you're so delighted. It's like you may be heavy as a rock, but by the power of the spiritual master, you begin to float in his aura, in his energy level. So that is a wonderful thing. And on that basis, people open so many temples, etc. What they did not do, we're learning, and in these last few days, analyzing and discussing, what they did not do is give up anarthas. Anarthas meaning,
Bad habits, unwanted.
undesirable traits and undesirable qualities, and or worse yet, undesirable mental states. If a person gives up eating meat, he gave up eating meat. But if he gives up the mental state, it's much harder because he identifies that as himself. As long as there's even the slightest self-identification with the body or the mind, then we cannot be completely transcendental. Transcendental means sat, eternal. We're eternal. I don't have a body. Oh, Christopher, do you feel you have a soul?
do I feel I have a soul?
Yeah.
Well, someone, I don't remember who said it, but I heard one devotee say that don't think that you that you have a soul, but that you are a soul.
There you go. If I am the soul, then I'm like a driver. The soul is like the driver of the body. It's like I drive my car, so I'm a driver of my automobile. But when a person says you are the automobile, then what's the driver? He's just maybe he exists, maybe he doesn't. Nowadays, particularly self-driving cars. But so then you go to the funeral. What's at the funeral? The car, not the driver. The driver's gone. He sent it to the junkyard. But all the people were sad because the car was wrecked. They go and have a big ceremony, and then they bury the car, cremate the car, something like that. It's ridiculous. Aham Brahmasmi, I'm the soul. So aham means I am, aham, I am, aham, I am. Brahmasmi, Brahman meaning pure spirit soul. That's who I am. So that's what you said. And that, if you conclude that, that's great. And you say you and your wife both are thinking like that.
Yes, she she even went to India a couple years ago. She went to Mayapur and Vrindavan and Radhakund. And
she didn't take you with her, or she went before you got together.
She didn't. We actually had a brief separation, and but during that she went to India, and she one friend that I made in Berkeley is named Kamala Krishna. I don't know if you know him.
Actually, I know him. He's a carpenter. He works in houses and stuff. Yeah, he's a very nice man.
Yeah, it's kind of skinny, wears glasses.
Yeah.
He's down in Southern California somewhere now. But he spends a lot of time in India, so I knew he was there, and so I had him meet her, and he took her because he knows all around India. So he took her to Radhakund and showed her around Vrindavan. Took her to Mayapur. Also with his friend, what's his name? I can't remember, but I'm sure you maybe know. Also another disciple of Prabhupada. But anyway, yeah, Kamala Krishna, showed her around. So she was there. She spent some time there, and but we struggle because, like I said, we don't have like really any association, and so there are a few devotees here, and we see once in a while, but it's sometimes it's hard to stay in that consciousness when association is an important thing. But I actually wanted to check in because I wanted to ask you, one of the things that we were always interested in was some kind of cow protection or farming. Varna ashram is what I was attracted to.
That's what we're concerned with. That's what we're dealing with. Is the idea we want to do world Sankirtan, which means chanting Prabhupada's personal melodies all over the place, but particularly get a soccer stadium, get 100,000 people, put out a bunch of microphones through a control booth, and people could take turn leading the kirtan from the audience, not from the stage. At the stage, have a little kirtan party, but the main thing would be handing a microphone out in the crowd and have all the mridangas and the kartals in the crowd chanting and playing these instruments over a super good sound system.
Yes, if they ever let us congregate together in crowds again. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
I don't know if I know in Bhagavatam there's stories about how big demons like Hiranyakashipu and so forth, they were always harassing, sort of like the saintly people, and always trying to stop their activities, and things like that seem to be happening now. I read I think as an introduction in Raja Vidya, I'm not sure, but Prabhupada said in the introduction, there's a line, he says, actually this world is being run by what's the term for the people that eat eat other people. What does they call 'em? The
Rakas.
Demon?
yeah, what's the word again? From Mahabharata, they're always fighting with the
Rajas.
Asuras.
Rakas.
Rakshasas,
Rakshasa.
Asuras.
Yeah.
Rakshasa.
Yeah.
Rakshasa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rakshasas.
So I thought
Cannibals, you mean?
that's what Prabhupada said, and there's a line where he says in an introduction of his books, he said, actually this world is being run by Rakshasas. And I basically took that to mean, by demons. But that seems to be pretty clear. But I mean,
So
not the caliber of demons maybe in the Bhagavatam, but I mean, it is Kali Yuga, and perhaps I wanted to ask some questions like that actually, because you see so many problems with society and politics and potential war scenarios, and
Probably more Rakshas, but
probably. And can you hear me still?
Rakshasas, but they are. Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Shravan, your microphone is not good, Shravan. Go ahead, Christopher Prabhu.
Yeah, so as this is the Kali Yuga, but also there's this golden age that Prabhupada talked about, because Lord Chaitanya came, so we have this golden age that is somehow overlapping also with Kali Yuga. So things will somehow is it that the golden age is for just the people who are chanting, or is it somehow will also emanate to the whole world? And then also because he said he wanted the Mayapur temple to be built, and then that would emanate, Lord Chaitanya's love and power would emanate from that city, and the whole world would become somehow affected by it. But then also simultaneously, because he spoke about wars, maybe a big war coming, and the preaching would be very good after this war, but that also communism could take over, and that would make a very hellish situation. So there seems to be like different, I was just trying to maybe sort out what what exactly, how these things can coexist, and what actually the picture is, what you, if you have any words about that.
You mentioned several things. You talked about the temple of the Vedic planetarium, and you talked about different things. So I think the explanation might be a long explanation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know it's kind of a convoluted,
What from the way Christopher is speaking, he seems he's gotten the essence of the whole works. The details can sort themselves out with time, but Christopher's attitude is first class. I mean, I listened to him as though he were my teacher, which is telling me things I did not know before he comes on the screen. So we want to continue and encourage you, Christopher, to become part of our group here. And we would also like to meet your wife also on the same, on these YouTube also. Do you think she would be interested to be part of it?
I think so. I'll invite her.
Yes, when the time comes. I mean, you're just on to first time tonight, I think, right? For this?
Yeah, well, I've been listening in from YouTube. But I decided to just try and say hello and maybe ask a question.
It's more than hello. You can become part of it. But hopefully, if you're listening to YouTube, did it blow your mind?
What's that? Say again?
Did it blow your mind?
Some of the information, yes. It always, Krishna consciousness is mind blowing. There's always something new and fascinating.
Well, it encouraged you to come into our YouTube, the YouTube association here. This is sort of like a family that comes and goes. There's people all over the place, India, America, all over the place. It becomes a very good experience.
Yes.
Right now, it looks as though everybody is from the American side, right? Dr. Ronald Babu?
Yes, everyone is in America. I'm in Sacramento. Nara Narayan Prabhu is in Los Angeles. Shravan is in Sacramento also. So it's only the three of us now.
In
Four
Eugene,
of us.
Oregon.
Yes. And Eugene, Oregon, yes. So what books have you studied, Prabhu? Christopher, have you? I mean, if you need any books, you let me know because I have a stack of books that people donate, so I can send you some free books. So don't worry about any paying any money. You tell me, uh, what books you have, and I'll send you what books you don't have. So you can give away, you can, preach, make a temple there.
Thank you. Yeah, we occasionally we have kirtans occasionally. There's a couple of, like I said, there are a few devotees, and then over the summer and early in the spring when sort of the lockdowns and everything was happening, it inspired something, and we were getting together almost once a week and having a kirtan. And there's like one ISKCON devotee, he has an ISKCON guru, but he's very much a Prabhupada person, but he but anyway, so we'd have maybe 5 or 6 people, and we'd go to a different park
So
and just
you
chant.
said in Eugene there are devotees here and there, right? So if you can get them all onto a Facebook page or something of that sort, then you can coordinate that they will come to your place for kirtan, if you like.
Yeah, yeah.
What sort of place do you have, if I could ask?
We just have a little house that we rent.
Yes.
We 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 don't make lots of money. We have a pretty simple life.
Good.
I work in the construction industry, for a contractor, and she was teaching at a preschool
Yes.
before, and then the corona thing sort of shut it down. But she's also like a yoga teacher, so she
Which
does
type
some.
of yoga?
Well, I mean, like hatha yoga. She
Hatha
does
yoga.
some. Yeah, she does some
My
instruction.
daughter is a certified instructor of Iyengar yoga, which is like how sort of like a branch
She
of yoga.
Yeah, she did study some in India too, but she does a little bit of online. Pretty much things are not open, so a lot of the work she does is not happening right now.
I want to shift the conversation to Siddhanta
Yes.
now. So
Yes.
so I'm sure you have read Prabhupada's books and you have studied some things. So what is striking to you reading Srila Prabhupada's books and seeing the situation now? What do you see as a bhakta like myself?
I'm
You
going to
mean
go
that?
off the program for a few minutes, and so go ahead.
Yes.
Continue.
Go ahead, Christopher Prabhu.
What do I see at Prabhupada's books and compared to the social situation, the planetary situation? Is that what you mean?
No, the situation now in the movement. How is your historical study of the movement and what you have realized and what you have heard? What's going on in your head?
Well, for me, I have to admit it is confusing for me. Like I said, when I went to Berkeley, I was kind of a just a Kali Yuga guy,
That's fine.
but I was raised Christian, so I it's not that I was atheist.
Yes, yeah.
like
I
that.
mean, you have
But,
you have some
but-
experience in spirituality from your birth, so
Yeah.
similar to my experience.
So I went to the temple a few times, and I took Isha Panishad, Sri Sapanishad, and I was reading
Wow, it's a powerful book.
and so I started reading that, and that created the shift. And so what I can say is that I didn't start going to the Berkeley Temple and meet like some ISKCON guru who started like talking to me and teaching me a new way to think. It was Prabhupada's book.
Yeah.
His book. So and at that Berkeley Temple, you live in the area, so you probably know there's a sort of a mixture of political
Yes, agenda.
positions there, from
yes.
Prabhupada people to ISKCON Guru people to everything in between, I guess.
Right.
So, so I got sort of, because I was like sort of a new guy, when you're kind of obviously new and don't know anything, everyone wants to sort of try and tell you what, from their position, what they're thinking.
Right. Of course.
So I got, so I got to sort of hear everyone's point of view.
Right.
But for me, I saw some gurus come through there, maybe 3 or 4.
Right.
They would come through on tour or whatever and giving their lectures and on Sunday or maybe another
Yeah.
day.
Sunday
So
feast.
I saw some of them, but I never really one-on-one talked to any of them. But for me, Prabhupada's books, and just being associated with his temple there. Prabhupada is sitting on the Vyasa there. It is his temple. He installed those deities.
Right.
And so the power of Prabhupada and his books and his words are what
Keeps you
started
going.
started the change for me. So I give all credit to Prabhupada, and I don't.
Right. I'm sure you know this already, but just for conversation's sake, Srila Prabhupada has a lot of lectures and recordings. You know that already, but
Yes.
if you hear those morning walk conversations, lectures, it's very powerful. I studied, well, I didn't study, I heard them for several years, and it shaped my consciousness to a degree that, the Vedic Siddhanta, the conclusions. So if you train the mind, you can become solidify your Krishna consciousness, and all your questions Srila Prabhupada talks about you were talking about Kali Yuga, Temple, Vedic Planetarium, this, that, this. So once you have a grasp of these different dimensions Srila Prabhupada talks to, you'll come to a concrete conclusion. Oh, yes, I need to do this. So you become, more happy and more involved. I mean, that's my experience.
Listening
Here,
to Prabhupada regularly.
yeah, make it a good habit. Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, conversations, lectures, kind of switch it back, because the philosophy is very important, and knowing, hearing from the right source. Because people don't hear from the right source, they become misled. For example, the guru issue is a big issue. And according to what Srila Prabhupada has written, only the topmost devotee can be a guru. And he's called Acharya, So most of the gurus in ISKCON, they're not on that level. So if someone is not on that level, they're not qualified to initiate. And that's there in the Nectar of Instruction, verse 5, last paragraph. It specifically says, Uttamadakari, if someone imitates the Uttamadakari, they fall down. So the whole movement is covered in Srila Prabhupada's books, but by association with Nara Narayan Prabhu and discussing it very scrutinizingly, you come to the same realization. Okay, this is why it happened. This is where they went wrong. So you kind of learn and see, and you can see, okay, yeah, this is what I have to avoid. So what I try to do is post small excerpts of the conversations that are very strong and conclusive, that we discuss Shastra, and then on YouTube. So you can watch those small excerpts. It'll be
I've seen some of your. I've seen a few recently that you posted. Maybe in the last month or something. I saw, because I'm subscribed to your channel, and I'm not subscribed to a lot of channels, so I usually see when things come through. But I noticed, you posted a few things. They're just like 10 seconds or something, right?
Yeah. So
yes, Hare Krishna.
Jai. So you've been practicing, or you've been reading Prabhupada's books for about 10 years, you said, right? Or more, a little bit?
Maybe it's been about 8 or 9, close to 10 years. It's coming close.
Yeah. We're in a similar boat. How old are you?
42.
You're 42. I'm 36. And Shravan is what? Shravan, how old are you? 62? No, not 62. 50 something probably.
Yeah, 50.
50.
Stop
Okay.
growing after 40, so
And
same height.
right, right. So Shravan, maybe you can share some of your realizations, Prabhu.
I wanted to ask Nara Narayan Prabhu for his opinion.
Uh,
Please let me know if with the microphone. Right now, the Gurudwaras are all occupied. The Sikh Gurudwaras are occupied by a terrorist movement called Khalistan movement.
mhm,
So there is no more people accepting Sikhism anymore.
mhm,
And the good thing about this community is they give good donations. Okay.
mhm,
And, very intelligent people. See, the thing is, these people are kind of innocent. They're, hot-blooded, but they're kind of innocent. They can easily be like women,
mhm.
they can be cheated easily. They're
Right.
also like that.
Acha.
So my question to Nara Narayan Prabhu is, what if we start a Gurudwara, a Hindu Gurudwara, meaning there are 7 gurus in Sikhism, but only the last guru is the one that is Sikh. If all other gurus are Hindu.
I see.
So basically, this will create an environment where that will bring in the Sikhs also to the temple, and they have the same philosophy. Basically, do japa, Hari, Harinam japa, and then kirtan, and then eat prasadam. These are the 3 philosophies of Sikhism.
Mm-hmm.
So why not create an environment where, so Prabhupada is the main guru for us. And then we also include, a place for worship of the 6 gurus, not 7. Because if you put the 7th guru, then all these terrorists are going to come in.
Ah, I see.
Because they'll claim that we are Sikh. What are you guys doing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I wanted to ask that question. So what is your thought on this?
Okay. He's not here yet, so he should be back soon. So thank you for sharing the question.
Okay, he didn't listen then?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Could have waited. Hare Krishna, Venkat Prabhu, you need to turn on maybe you can send him a message.
Turn on the microphone,
Microphone.
Prabhu.
He needs to click the button. He cannot hear us right now. So send him a message.
Okay. Now Nan Prabhu's
Hare
back.
Krishna,
Okay,
Hare Bol,
have
how
you
are
heard
you?
my question?
John.
Okay,
So
can you explain to him?
Can you repeat the
Anil
essence of
Prabhu?
your question? I was away from the computer for a little bit.
Okay.
No worries, no worries. Okay, Ronald Prabhu, please explain what you understood.
Okay. Shravan Prabhu is wanting to engage with the Sikh community because they are the gurus in Sikhism who are Hindus. Their philosophy is the same as our philosophy, chanting the holy name of God, distribution of prasadam. Uh, so he was saying that, what do you think about having a temple combined with them, having Prabhupada as our guru and also having their 7 gurus?
Well, someone could do that, and
Let me
Go ahead, Shravan.
okay,
but
let me repeat
I
it
am
again.
wondering.
I'm sorry.
I am personally wondering if we simply continue what we're doing, giving the real Prabhupada, it's not necessary for us to join with a religious group. What we're doing is clarifying for the next 10,000 years. Very hard to say. I would tend to assume that Islam, Judaism, Christianity, and Sikhism, and the Sufi, and all of the different branches of different Buddhism, all the different branches of different religions will fade away simply because they do not have the potency to save the humanity via the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. So we took part in a Sikh and became Prabhupada as one of the Sikh gurus. I doubt that he would be very pleased, but at the same time, what are we accomplishing to get them to
No,
all
not
chant Hare Krishna?
Prabhu. Let me explain the question. 1 second, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Let me clarify my question.
Yes.
Okay, Karanveer Singh Prabhu is here. So he will agree with me that in Sikhism, there are three principles.
The whole
Jap
idea of
karo, Nam
Sikhism.
japo, Kirat karo, Vand chako. These three, doing japa, do kirtan, and eat prasad. So right now, please correct me,
Bro,
Karanveer Prabhu, if I'm wrong.
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
yes, yes.
excellent. So do you agree with what I'm saying so far?
No,
You're Sikh, right, Prabhu?
Who are you
No,
no.
no.
talking
Okay,
to?
okay. All right. So anyway, if you know something about Sikhism, do let us know. So anyway, right
Uh,
now, these Sikh
my
temples have been occupied by
Sikhism is a
Khalistan movement.
hello.
Yes.
So what are we
Yes.
trying to accomplish here?
Okay, my question here, Prabhu, quickly. So my
Ask.
question is,
Quickly or
these
slowly, what is the
people,
point?
they like to give
What
large
are we
donations.
accomplishing?
They like to it'll be a lot easier to raise funds because they have a machine of raising funds, these people, Sikhs,
Actually, I'll tell you something. The
and
donation,
distributing prasadam and to do seva.
I,
Everyone will chip in, everyone, not one or two people.
regarding donations, the Sikh people do
So
give
their culture to feed.
Mhm.
What
I want to make,
exactly, what is the objective right here?
yeah, that's what I want
Raise
to ask
money?
next.
To raise funds? What is the objective that you're
Yes, that's
looking
correct,
at,
Prabhu.
Shravan Prabhu?
Objective is to raise money, raise funds. And also, when they come to the temple, then we teach them how to do kirtan, how to do japa. We get them started in japa and engage them in kirtan. See, right now they only do prasadam.
Well, that's a nice idea to do, but it's not necessarily where our whole structure right here on this YouTube channel is actually headed, because we're trying to create a standard for the rest of the Kali Yuga, the next 10,000 years of Kali. And to do that is going to require a full focus on this exactly only Prabhupada as the Shaktavish avatar, as it were, who is come here to deliver countless millions of people from repeated birth and death during the 10,000 years of the golden age of Kali, via the process gifted
Okay, if
it
I may add
by
something,
Lord
Prabhu,
Chaitanya.
may I say something in between?
Of course.
I agree with what you said. Right now, ISKCON is very imbalanced. We have Shudras, we have Vaishyas, we may have a few Brahmanas, we don't have Kshatriyas. Because if Vaishyas
They
are
don't have
carrying on
any of those other
business
things.
and killing devotees who are sincere,
Mostly they're all
if they were
Shudras.
Kshatriyas, there wouldn't be any, we would not have any of these things done to the children. If we had Kshatriyas in the movement, we do not have Kshatriyas. So by involving these Sikh people who are Kshatriyas, so that will bring a balance to our community as well.
But
And we are not
what's the
changing
point here?
anything.
The children, you're saying that children would not have been harmed if there had been Kshatriyas? I don't.
Absolutely.
Okay. The reason the children were harmed was because the ISKCON devotees who had taken initiation from Prabhupada had already created a secondary plan, and Prabhupada had said that the second generation will be more spiritually advanced and spiritually potent than the ones people that he had personally initiated. When they heard that, they wanted to destroy the children so that they would be the ones that predominate. We're dealing with a thing where ISKCON cannot be dealt with. It has gone off the rails. It has gone off away from what Prabhupada taught and what Prabhupada made clear. Just even in the 5th verse of the Nectar of Instruction, mainly Upadeshamrita.
So did he mean second?
We don't
Did he
need
mean
to get
second
involved in
generation,
other
meaning
groups. We don't
children
need
of the devotees?
imported Kshatriyas. What we need to do is to create the purity of the movement, and the movement, by being pure, will produce all of the good results that we're looking for.
Right.
Now, if one individual like Shravan or anyone wants to try working with the Sikhs, why not? You can do what they please. But that's not the, as far as I understand, from Dr. Ronald, we're here to solve problems that had not been solved before.
Yes.
And that's not one of them. How to
Yeah.
get some Kshatriyas from the Sikhs. First of all, they're not actually Kshatriyas anyhow. They're businessmen. Kshatriya means ready to kill. How you can kill in America is just not accepted. So who are you going to kill with this
Well,
Kshatriyas?
if somebody tries to do that in their Gurudwara, they would be killed. Trust me, Prabhu.
Well, then they will go to jail because
If
this
somebody
is
tried to do in their Gurudwara,
okay.
well, if they're defending their
But you do
children,
not agree that if
anyway,
you kill someone
but
in
they're like
America,
that.
you will be charged with murder. The Muslims are doing this all the time. They have so idea want to kill their wife, they want to kill their children, they want to kill this person, that person, and the result it becomes a international chaos because of killing. You don't think that would be a result?
I think we should shift gears to what we originally intended, what we want to do here. We're not going to combine with any movement. We're trying to give the
Right.
Siddhanta,
That's right.
you know.
Yeah, of
If
course.
Shravan wants to do that, he can do it on his own. There's no harm in that. But our program is not that. We have a different program. And it is to create an awareness of Prabhupada as a pure devotee of the Lord. And if Shravan is with our group and he wants to go and get some Kshatriyas going for himself, then he can bring that vision with him if they're interested in witnessing it. But
I think
their
also,
own basis. They have their own guru system. It has nothing to do with Srila Prabhupada per se, as
right.
far as you can see. Where's the connection? If they see what we're doing and they support it, we welcome it.
Actually, Prabhu,
We're not trying to
a
become.
lot of Sikhs who have distributed books to, they're very favorable. And if we ask them for Lakshmi for a Hare Krishna temple center, they'll give. We don't have to go to them and be like, hey, we're going to bow down. And no, we have our own philosophy. We tell them about the soul, you know, everyone's a soul. And they gave money for the books. So we should not cater to that, you know, making a hodgepodge out of our philosophy. That's, you know, it's not something that Prabhupada would recommend.
And just because they have money, well, if we work intelligently, we will also have money. They will come to us for money.
Jai.
They're very generous at so for donation for the. They even give 1 day of their time, even though they're big businessmen.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
you become a big businessman too. You at one time you were a big real estate guy. Become big real estate or big something else again, and then they will come to you for money.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Shravan, you need to gather some info about Sikhism, because in Sikhism, it's clearly written that you should read about Ramayana, you should read Vedas, you should. The sign of Sikhism itself is the combination of Om, the one Om sign we use in Hinduism. So, Sikhism, even in my family, my elders were Sikh, but we are Hindu. So, Sikhism is like a force made to counter Islam in the Hinduism itself. So the people who distinguish differently the Sikhism and Hinduism are fools themselves, because the core of Sikhism is itself Hinduism. How can someone distinguish and differentiate between them? So it's useless,
Yes,
because it's useless to make them different. They are all one.
right.
They
That's
are
why
all a
that is
part
that
of
is
big
why
tree.
I see them as Hindu,
So
and
no, no, no,
many Sikhs see them
we
as
can't.
Hindu as well.
If
And
if
those people
sick
can come to the
if
movement.
if sick people
So
themselves are
I agree with
differentiating
Nara
them,
Narayan Prabhu what he suggested.
if
Huh?
it themselves are differentiating between Hinduism and Sikhism, they are fools, not us, because in their own books
Prabhu,
it's written.
Sri Singhji, could you show yourself from the face point of view rather than the Ram full of arrows point of view?
Sir, I am in a place where I can't show my face right now.
Okay. He cannot show his face right now. He's in a place
Uh-oh.
where he cannot.
But you
Yeah.
look very nice in the face, and it makes more personal relationship when you can see the face of the person you're talking with.
Do that in a week,
For
Prabhu. Please forgive me.
for Shravan, I may give you an advice. Take it as a advice, okay? You should read Satyarth Prakash of Swami Dayanand. He gives a complete insight why only and only Vedas are true. So you should read The Light of Truth, a book, the legendary book. I say after Gita, the most legendary book is Satyarth Prakash. You should read. And
Oh,
this confusion of mixing Islam, Christianity, and in Hinduism, it will be vanished from your mind.
thank you
Just
very
read
much
it.
for sharing. Nara Narayan Prabhu, let's shift gears,
Yeah.
please.
What do we want?
Okay.
I said, let's shift gears to the present moment now. What do we have to do now? What we have discussed in the past weeks, and let's bring it to
Well,
the point.
we're not talking about groups or religion or joining this or joining that or being joined by anyone. We're simply in istagosti. We're in a personal spiritual inquiry mode where we don't need to think about other people or groups of other people. We think about ourselves as independent philosophers. And as such, we speak, we think, we listen to others and join in together. But the minute we start talking about joining this group or that group, I tune out. I'm not interested because I'm not the joiner of any group. I am myself and have been from birth an independent philosopher. When Prabhupada opened that door to become an independent philosopher officially, I accepted it officially. And that's all I want is to be a member of ISKCON, which means independent philosopher. But ISKCON is going to drift. So now we are going to approach it from the point of view of ISKCON as it is, or spiritual life as it is. And as a result, we are trying looking at Prabhupada only as our source. I believe, and I think it's easy to establish, that Srila Prabhupada is the last in the line of the disciplic succession for the until the end of Kali Yuga, until Kalki comes. And because if you start, why would I say that? Oh, there may be other big gurus, there may be other acharyas coming. But what would they do? What would another acharya actually be able to accomplish that Prabhupada has not already accomplished?
Jai.
All these books are published. We don't need any more books. We could do with fewer books, but we don't need more books. What we need one book, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad. Anything will be good to get us going to understand that God exists. But if we start thinking of all sorts of structures and all sorts of people and money involved, that is not our goal right now. I've done my money thing for this lifetime. And if any money comes up this way, we're going to open up for World Sankirtan with chanting when the COVID passes. And and we don't need to go anywhere except to try to see who actually is Srila Prabhupada. Like when Jesus appeared, there was so much controversy. Who is this person? And people went out all over the place with it. They disagreed with each other completely on the topic. And then this Catholic Church was formed under Constantine, and they made a religion by force. You must belong or else. And that became the Catholic Church. It took over Europe. It took over the Roman Empire that had conquered Europe. And then it became the Catholic Roman Empire that conquered Europe. That's not our business. Our business is to try to make a vision, or not to make it, but to allow the vision of the next 10,000 years to appear to us in the course of our Istagosti. That's what we want. To deal with the next 10,000 years of Istagosti, to show the next 10,000 years, how will Prabhupada be situated? How will his books be situated? How will a person be a disciple? And also, will ISKCON as the movement that it is now be predominant? We're deconstructing and considering that it will not be. What they did was they deviated from Prabhupada, and Prabhupada wanted elected GBC. They decided no elected GBC. On what authority did they say that? Without committing the Maha Aparad against the spiritual master. So GBC is out of the question. GBC means elected every 3 years. ISKCON means individual temple, individually incorporated. Aside from that, everything else that they have done is completely bogus and cannot be tolerated as representing Prabhupada, which it does not. They're just using Prabhupada. They want Prabhupada to be their figurehead. And what have we got here? Yeah, Krishna conscious movement for training men to be independently thoughtful. So what have we got here?
Okay, this is the letter that we have talked about numerous times, and this is our motto right here. Krishna consciousness movement is for training men to be independently thoughtful and competent in all types of departments of knowledge action, not for making bureaucracy. Once there's bureaucracy, the whole thing will be spoiled. There must always be individual striving and work and responsibility, competitive spirit, not that one shall dominate and distribute benefits to the others, and that others and they do nothing but beg from you and you provide. No, never mind, there may be botheration to register each center, take certification, becomes separate corporations in each state that will train men how to do these things, and they shall develop reliability and responsibility. That is the point. That is the point.
So what is the point? Now, is this the letter from Prabhupada to Karandar?
Yes, that's the letter.
That one which we have gone over before.
Yes.
Yes. So that completely clarifies
That's
the
our mission.
situation.
Yeah.
We're not interested in building a group of people or a society of people. We're interested in association, gathering together independent philosopher. What is an independent philosopher? An independent philosopher means the Bhakti Lata Beach, or the devotional creeper going up from the heart of the devotee to the lotus feet of Krishna. That's an independent philosopher. If you have got a bunch of people hanging out together and having fun with each other, then that's called the Anyabhalasha Beach, and it's just a social organization based on this religion or that. It's Sikh and Hindu mixed or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
That's our goal, to create an Anyabhalasha Beach structure. We want to have people being pure devotees,
Jai.
not what you call it,
Mixed devotees.
exactly, members of a group or belonging here, belonging there, giving money to each other. That's not the point. The
The goal
point is
is
to become independent philosopher
okay.
with or
Goal
without
is
money.
Go ahead,
Well-
Shravan. Please speak loudly and clearly.
Okay, the goal is the focus is to make pure devotees, not so much about involving lots of people.
Yes.
Correct? Is that what you're saying, Prabhu?
Yeah. So what's the difficulty?
What is the difficulty? I don't see any difficulty.
The difficulty only comes when people hear Prabhupada, say that they accept Prabhupada 100%, and then do something else or say something else.
Right.
That's the
Jai.
difficulty.
That's the difficulty. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
in,
accepting what Prabhupada is and is said and is done, that is our process. And if we can accept it 10% without adding or subtracting, which means only chanting the melodies Prabhupada taught us, because if we chant a different type of melody, then that's adding and at the same time subtracting. Because adding our own melody or Bollywood melody or Hindu melody or Indian melody or Bengali melody, adding these melodies automatically takes away another melody. And that's the one which Prabhupada has taught us. Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka. So if Hare Krishna comes straight from Krishna Loka, then why are we making things up on planet Earth? We should accept from Krishna Loka.
Yep.
Otherwise, it means we do not believe in Krishna Loka. Just like the Christian does not believe in Jesus and the kingdom of God, it's real.
wow, Jai, Srila Prabhupada's temple here. Take a look.
Yeah. Where-
Jai.
where does it
Wonderful,
say-
Jai. So the Jagat Guru, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Yes.
Haribol. Wonderful temple. Wow. Sukadev Goswami.
Is it Christopher's temple?
Yes, Christopher's temple.
That's wonderful.
Jai Prabhu.
Christopher has very paka energy. He's already been through the mill, and now he accepts Prabhupada as he is. Our goal is just to make that increasingly transparent, so at no point are we doing or saying anything which is not in complete harmony with Srila Prabhupada.
That has been my experience, that if you follow what Srila Prabhupada has said, it's very, very clear, very clean
Very
cut.
Thank you for clarifying.
Very clear, very clean cut, and it's you make rapid advancement, rapid. It's no joke.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question, Prabhu. Nara Narayan Prabhu.
Yes.
He's asking, Venkat Prabhu is asking, I want to ask Nara Narayan Prabhu why he says there won't be any more acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Oh, the question is, are we thinking about acharyas like ISKCON new guru acharyas, or people that are just sitting there appointing each other to be acharya, or are we talking about uttama adhikari like Srila Prabhupada? Why would there be a need for an uttama adhikari like Srila Prabhupada to reappear? He has appeared. He wrote everything that needs to be understood for Golden Age of Kali. What is it that we need from a next acharya? What would that next acharya do except you're a bunch of jerks and you didn't listen to Prabhupada? I mean, is that what an acharya would come here to do? Or do we have to take it upon ourselves to accept what Prabhupada has given us and not require someone to come into the room and hit us with sticks for being such bad students? I mean,
Right.
what would another acharya accomplish? He'd have to come to tell us, why didn't you listen to Prabhupada? So why don't we just listen to Prabhupada and we don't need the next acharya? Jesus has made so much headway, billions of Christians, 3 billion Christians, I think, 2 or 3 billion. And what is that based on? That there's no recording of Jesus. There is no picture of Jesus. There's nothing about Jesus. No real history of Jesus. It's all confused and messed up. But even so, people accept Jesus. So why we cannot accept Prabhupada as he is?
Right.
Not have to have another Prabhupada to pick up the messes created by those who claim to be following him.
Jai. Venkat Prabhu, please go ahead. You want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Jai.
but I wanted to add on saying that when we talk about Uttama Adhikaris, so there are so many desi cows still available in this on this planet. They are living on this planet. Similarly, there are Uttama Adhikaris in every sampradaya, and
Are there?
there are Uttama Adhikaris trading on this planet. It's
What define Uttama Adhikari, please?
Uttama Adhikari Goswami, Narada Muni,
No,
who
what is
have
the
pious
personal?
birth and pure,
What is the
have been
personal
pure always.
action and consciousness of the Uttama Adhikari?
Uttama
What?
Adhikari is always in contact with God.
Meaning? Contact with God by email? How do you mean?
Hari.
Uttama Adhikari is always in contact with God. Explain. What is his contact with God?
Uttama Adhikari always sees the Leela of Lord happening. He's always in Samadhi, in connection with God. And he comes down to a normal platform like us to
But
the
what
fallen
is
conditioned souls.
Uttama Adhikari's connection, personal connection with God? Krishna. What is his personal connection with Krishna?
He's always serving God, like in Vaikuntha. All the Vaikuntha Vasis are single-handedly serving Lord Vishnu or Sri Hari or Narayan or Narasimha, like that.
Well,
Krishna through Radharani.
you're making it sound as though he's just a very great devotee of a deity.
Prabhu, okay, just for a moment, I would like to ask you one question.
Yes.
You are telling that for next 10,000 years, we have the books, we have the printed content of Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
But regarding the same books, Prabhupada used to use a dictaphone and later on a microphone for recording his translations and purports for each and every verse of the Gita, the Bhagavatam.
He did.
Then why are we not able to get access to the actual recordings of the translations and the purports of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam? We are not able to get it from Los Angeles BBT.
Well, so what is
So how do, if I want to check, like suppose if Prabhupada would have given a manuscript, I could have conjointly checked it with the manuscript, whether the book in my hand is the same as the manuscript kept in Prabhupada's archives. But because we don't have the manuscript, how do I check it with the audio tapes? Because we all know that it was all audio taped. So how do I check what I am reading is actually?
Possibly, Prabhupada would send the tape to be transcribed. Then they would send the tape back to wherever he was, India or some other country, and he would re-record over that same tape. It's not that he had separate tapes for each thing and they kept it in the archive. He just, the real point is that everything that Prabhupada wrote is sufficient in its present form, as it is, to deliver the fallen conditioned souls of this world. That's all. You don't need to be a very sharp scholar or to check the translation against the tape or anything like that. If the books were satisfied, if Prabhupada was satisfied with, how many things do you need in a book
But Prabhu,
to become a
with
devotee of
all
Krishna?
respects,
If you want to be a devotee of Krishna, how many books do you need to read? Or do you need to read any? Why do
Prabhu,
you need a
actually,
book? Why do you need,
Prabhupada
what does the book
says,
have to do?
you
The
will
book
in a
is
moment.
there to deliver 10,000 years of people. That's it. What are they going to do when they're delivered? They will chant Hare Krishna in Kirtan. As long as people are chanting Hare Krishna in Kirtan, using the melody that came from Krishna Loka by Srila Prabhupada introduced, not some other goofy melody from this temple, that temple, this religion, that religion, this Bollywood movie, that Bollywood movie. Not like that. The preaching will be 10% successful if it is simply followed. How well? Roughly. We cannot follow anything perfectly. Following roughly, but we will get everyone to chant Hare Krishna. I assure you that in this Kali Yuga, if anyone even hears Krishna's holy name once, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. If he hears that mantra just once, he will take a human birth to hear it again. And another birth, or another birth, and another birth. Do you hear it again? Even if he becomes a dog, he will have the mantra in his heart, and he'll become building himself back up again to human life of what? Of Krishna consciousness going on for 10,000 years. Not just a movement, not just a religion, not just a temple or some temples, but a worldwide movement of people being rescued and rescuing themselves from the onslaught of the increased horribleness of Kali Yuga. Remember, Kali Yuga is not just a thought or a concept. Kali Yuga is a winter of 4 seasons. And winter begins like right now in California, we're having winter. It's getting colder. And by the time March comes by, it'll be really cold. In some places in the United States, there will be 5 feet of snow. There'll be ice. People will die because of cold. That's Kali Yuga. It's the winter of the 4 yugas. And in that winter, a small parcel of people for 10,000 years will be able to go back to home, back to Godhead. They'll be delivered. So it's not that complicated. Now, why is Prabhupada the last Acharya? Because what is needed? By the way, the Acharya is not just a person who is very religious. The Acharya is in his rasa with Lord Krishna, the supreme personality, person of Godhead. So because the Uttama Adhikari is in direct relation to Krishna, he is as simultaneously in Krishna Loka, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of Krishna, and simultaneously on earth to deliver you and me. So the big question is, why is another Acharya required? 500 years ago, there were so many pure devotees and Acharyas, and with Lord Chaitanya. Why do we require more? For what purpose? What is to be obtained? Whose idea is it for Prabhupada to be Acharya? Is it not that Krishna sent him here to be the Acharya in the Sampradaya? So why do we need so many more Acharyas in the Sampradaya? What would they accomplish?
I mean, when we have pure milk available, desi ghee, why do we need anything else?
Good point.
We have it here, and we have practical realization that if we follow this simple path, we make advancement. No need to add, no need to minus, no need to think about anything else. Why would I want to think about anyone else? I mean, it's no point. You
Well,
just read his books.
he's considering why is Prabhupada the last Acharya in the Golden Age of Kali or in Kali Yuga? First of all, there will be after 10,000 years, there will be no kirtan, no chanting, no devotees on planet Earth. It'll become a nightmare of cannibalism, of horrible. There will be no herbivorous animals on Earth after 10,000 years. So this is the last bit of human beings on planet Earth. Human beings meaning people that are devotees or able to practice Krishna consciousness. But after 10,000 years, it'll be finished. So the first 10,000 years, we're gathering together who can be gathered. And that is all it takes is Prabhupada's books. It doesn't need somebody else's books as well. It's not like we're having a huge continuing going on forever. No, the Sampradaya will continue, but from 10,000 years until Kalki arrives, there will be no need for more pure devotees. There will be no pure devotees present between 10,000 years and the rest of Kali Yuga. Right now, we're 5,000 years into Kali Yuga. It's 432,000 years, Kali Yuga. It's a very short period of time compared to Satya Yuga or any other Yuga. It's very short. So after this Kali Yuga will come, after Kali Yuga is established, which it is, it's getting established, then those who can be delivered from this world will be. And those who can't will continue to take birth in increasingly more horrific births under the pressure, under the power of Kali Yuga. So we don't need to have acharyas more. And also the acharya, the Uttama Adhikaris, that is not as you describe it, it's not as you have said. The Uttama Adhikari is not just a mystical person in a mystical relationship with a mystical non-existent God. No, the Uttama Adhikari is in his rasa with Krishna. And that means that's his eternal relationship with Krishna, not something else. And it's not impersonal. The person is there. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your detailed explanation, Prabhu.
You're most welcome. Do you have any further questions?
Apology that we have pure desi ghee with us, but the desi ghee comes from the desi cow. So unless there are desi cows, so how can we say that the ghee which we are having is a pure desi ghee? So at all times, a cow should be there, and from the milking of that cow, we get butter. From butter, we get
not just
ghee.
cow, but we need to have a Vedic culture. We need to have Varnashram Dharma once again, but instead of a materialistic Varnashram Dharma, such as it existed up to 5,000 years ago, we do not need the Desi cow culture will be a spiritual Varnashram. Daiva Varnashram, what Prabhupada has envisioned, spiritual communism, so that you will have to have delineated Varnas, Shudra Varna, Vaishya Varna, Kshatriya Varna, and Brahman Varna. It will be the way it was at the time of Jagannath Puri before the British got their grubby little hands on it, and that Jagannath owned all the land. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Lord Jagannath owned all the land. The deity owned the land, not the Brahmin, not some guy in charge. No, Krishna owned all the land in the form of Jagannath. And everybody else was working as servants of Jagannath. All of them. The Shudra, the Vaishya, the Kshatriya, and the Brahmins were all serving Jagannath. And the society was that they didn't really need money, and they didn't need to they didn't need to have their own cooking stoves, because they will bring all the produce that they produce to the temple. And then at the temple, the Brahmin, the Pandas in the Jagannath temple produce incredible amounts of extraordinarily delicious prasadam. And then that prasadam is distributed to all the people that raise the crops. So it's not that anyone, if everyone can come up to the temple to eat 3 times a day. Why should he bother to cook at home when he can be doing some other duty instead? And so that is the Varnashram Dharma. So the Daiva Varnashram Dharma requires Vaishyas to cultivate the desi cows, and it's possible to interbreed different, upgrade the breed of desi cows by horticulture. It's called agronomy. And by that process, the desi cows will become more developed. And then from the desi cow's hump on the back, when they urinate, comes the oxides of gold and silver, which go into the soil and makes the soil incredibly potent for growing crops. So that's what the point is, and that's what Prabhupada wanted, particularly if there's a war or if some great disaster occurs, which is said to be favorable for Krishna consciousness. Well, what will it favor? It will favor communities farming, but not just people having cows in the backyard like a Goshala, or not like people just cultivating cows like cattle ranchers in America, except that they don't kill the cows. No, not like that. The cow has to be an integral part of the interior of the society. No automobile will be required. No stereo will be required. Only thing required will be plow and ox cart. And those things will be the means of producing the grains, and also the transportation will be an ox cart. You cannot imagine a 20 ox cart crash with people dying all over the place. No, you ride an ox cart, you'll get to your destination, no death will be involved. So this is Daiva Varnashram. It'll be able to recreate spiritual communities, Krishna conscious spiritual communities based on Srila Prabhupada's vision for 10,000 years out of this Kali Yuga nightmare that will be getting worse and worse and worse. So in order to combat the worse and worse, we get the land, 10,000 acres, 20,000 acres, and make a community. Then another community, 10,000. Now we can't make the whole world into a Krishna conscious community, because where's the saintly king? Where's anybody? Where are the qualified anybody's? No, but we can have many, many, many farming coalitions of thousands of acres of fertile land with water that is pumped from wells or from rivers or streams. And we keep our cows very nicely, grow the wheat, the flax, the silk for silkworms to make into silk clothing, cotton for cotton, all of these things. And that's how we can produce the what you were saying, the desi cow and desi ghee. Now you can go to an Indian shop and there will be, say, desi ghee for sale. The question is it really desi ghee? That's a good question. But they are in India desi cows. My former wife, Rupa Manjari Devi Dasi, actually started working with a bunch of people that were very close, yogic communities that were very close to Narendra Modi. Narendra Modi had been importing bull semen, frozen bull semen from America to impregnate the cows to make them big milk producing cows like American cows. But partly because of my wife's introduction of the idea that the Desi cow must be revived, they gave that up and they started cultivating only bull semen from Desi cows, not from American cows, Jersey cows, or whatever sort of cows. So it's that easy to make a difference if there's a pious climate within which to work. And Narendra Modi is a very pious person who wants to revive the vegetarian nature of India per se. So we don't have to say under the Mughals, they were not vegetarian. The British, they were clearly not vegetarian. So now we have the chance to revive all of this, but it cannot be done without pious leadership, except on the Daiva Varnashram. When you have Daiva Varnashram, you can have people living there. They will give all the produce from the Vaishyas, give everything, not keeping back, but giving everything to the Brahmins, who then offer everything to Krishna. So there will be rolls of silk to make saris. There will be pots full of ghee, tubs full of ghee. There will be cotton. There will be silk. There will be linen. There will be vegetables. There will be pickles. There will be everything there. Achar. There will be everything that the people want. And the Brahmins will then distribute it to everyone. The Prabhupada called it spiritual communism. And what is spiritual communism as opposed to, there's been no communism in the world, nowhere. It has not been accomplished. They say communism. Russia was never a communist. It's called a Union of Socialist Republics. That's not, it didn't say communist republics, socialist republics. So that has nothing to do with it. They only managed to create a dictatorship and some redistribution of wealth to the benefit of the population to a degree, but not to the degree that you'd think would be possible in a communal society. But Daiva Varnashram can do that. Daiva Varnashram can actually create a society in which all of the needs of everyone is taken care of, and because it's small, a few 4,000 or 5,000 people, maybe even 10,000 people, they can all live and produce on the land, give to the Brahmins, and receive prasad down from the Brahmins. And because everyone in this new Vedic, the old Varnashram Dharma was the Kshatriyas wanted to die and go to the sun planet. Everybody wants to go to Indraloka and whatnot like that. And they want to increase their good karma so that they can enjoy like anything. It's like a man wants to earn money, so what? So he can spend it on stuff to enjoy his senses. That's what that's why people get money, to spend it on their senses. And you say, well, what about on the family? Wife's senses, children's senses, they grow up and get men's senses. And that is the whole thing that they're doing. They're simply using the opportunity of the sacrifice in order to get more good karma so that they can spend more good karma. So you spend good karma in a higher planet, then you come to planet Earth like this. So planet Earth is saturated with people that have used up most of their good karma. And when they die on this planet Earth, they will not take birth again on planet Earth, or at least, not very many of them. They will take a lower birth. Why? Because they spent their karma. You could say, well, I had $1 million and I lost it in a bad business deal. That's also karma. Money is karma. But you can say also that you have a certain amount of planet karma that you developed, which means karma means pious activity produces karma. Bad karma is called vaikarma. And if you do vaikarma, drink, eat meat, do all of these things without any education, without any Brahmins, without any saintly king to guide the human society, that this vaikarma will bring you down to a lower birth. So I like to joke with the dog walkers that are here in Los Angeles, so many of them. Every street has dozens of dog walkers, gorgeous dogs, castrated or neutered females. And yeah, sure. So they don't know the difference anymore. All they're doing is happily trotting along, pooping on the grass. Then the owner comes and picks up the poop with his hand in a plastic bag. I mean, this is amazing. And I say to the dog workers, you know, these dogs are having such a good time. I think that in the next lifetime, they will become dog walkers and you will become a dog and they will walk you. And they laugh. They think it's funny and nice. So you can see if they think that's nice, then they have no future. They have no spiritual life. So they use up their good karma. So in the Daivavan ashram, we build up, everyone will be building good karma. But here's the secret. Unlike the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas of the Vedic culture that died out 5,000 years ago, with the help of the Mughals and the British, even more so, these people will all be initiated Vaishnavas, Prabhupada disciples, initiated or accepting that Prabhupada is the spiritual master. And because of everyone, the Shudras, the Vaishyas, the Kshatriyas, and the Brahmins will all accept. I like to come up with this little fantasy idea. Here comes a Brahmin chanting his japa coming down from the temple, and he sees a Shudra sitting there in the grass with his children, and he's reading to them from Krishna book. And he's reading so nicely, and the children are jumping up and down. Oh, Daddy, very excitedly by what they're hearing from Krishna book, that the Brahmin is moved to tears, and he falls down and offers his obeisances to the Shudra.
Jai.
That is the difference between Daiva Varnashram and regular Varnashram. Regular Varnashram, the Brahmin will never bow down to the Shudra. The Shudra bows down to everybody, but nobody bows down to the Shudra. But in Daiva Varnashram, the Brahmin can bow down to the Shudra because, like the forest of Naimisharanya, when Lord Chaitanya was chanting, that the lions and rabbits were dancing together and sheep and everything. They were having a good time in ecstasy chanting Hare Krishna. So because of chanting Hare Krishna, there is no more class distinction. So if there's no more class distinction, then why Shudra, why Vaishya, why Kshatriya, why Brahmin? Well, the Brahmins know how to cook. Leave it at that. And they cook for everybody. You know, you can cook something in your house, but mainly the Brahmins cook. And what about the Shudra? The Shudra is very good at working. He likes to work. So you put him behind a plow to dig the soil up with a plow. And you take the Shudra and you have him harvesting the crop and taking apples and slicing them and putting them in the sun to make dried apples, you know, all of those things. And he can then participate with the Kshatriyas and polish their armor and he build all the houses that everybody requires to live in. What's the big problem? It becomes a nice thing. So that sort of Varnashram Dharma means everyone is equal. Prabhupada said spiritual communism, and communism, according to the words of Karl Marx, who studied the Ramayana and was inspired to communism by nothing less than Ram Raja, the kingdom of Ram. What was the principle? And Marx used this as his principle, and Prabhupada said this is spiritual communism. So that, using the word communism, what does that mean? From each according to his ability, to each according to his need, from each according to what he knows how to do best. Carpenter, like Christopher, makes carpentry. A other man can dig in the soil. Another man can plant the bamboo to make houses out of it. So this is possible. This is possible. So then that means the lion in the prophet, Hebraic prophet Isaiah, really foresaw Lord Chaitanya. I'm convinced. And I think in terms of there being a second coming of Jesus or something like that, we don't need a second coming of Jesus. We have the first coming of Lord Chaitanya, who established the prophecy of the second coming of Isaiah, that the lion will lie down with the lamb, and the swords will be beaten into plowshares for digging, working the soil, and spears will be turned into pruning hooks for getting the fruit out of the tree by snagging it with a bent, instead of a spear to kill someone with a sharp point, it has a curved edge, and you pull and the fruit comes down, you catch it before it hits the ground. And then he said, and neither shall they study war anymore. This is Isaiah. I'm convinced that when Lord Chaitanya went into the forest of Naimisharanya, he fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, because the lion did lie down with the lamb. And there was no war. Nobody was killing anybody. They were all chanting Hare Krishna. So that is the goal. And as far as Prabhupada is concerned, why do we need a second Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya said, come and chant Hare Krishna. What's he going to do? Come back again and say, oh, you idiots, why aren't you chanting Hare Krishna? No, he came once to chant Hare Krishna. From him came the Sampradaya, coming down to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and Srila Prabhupada. Why do we need another Acharya after Prabhupada when Prabhupada has spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya all over the globe to every town and village? He has already done it. And now we have cyber, we have YouTube, we have, which we're on, we have all of these things of all of these electronic social meeting. We have the Facebook, and all of this means that to make the world Krishna conscious is easy. Just chant Hare Krishna purely. That's the hard part. It's easy to make the world Krishna conscious, but you chant purely. Like, and if you don't know how to chant purely, Prabhupada chants purely. Play Prabhupada tape on the internet, and the world will become Krishna conscious. So that why do we need another Prabhupada? We don't need another Lord Chaitanya. Anybody Acharya that comes after this, you know who the Acharya is going to come after Prabhupada? Kalki
Avatar.
Kalki Avatar. He's going to come and say, you're all a bunch of assholes and bastards and no good nicks. I'm going to come and kill you all with my sword. And that will be the lesson that we get for not following Prabhupada.
Okay,
follow Prabhupada or be chopped to pieces by Kalki.
We have been having a long discussion, so let's take one more question from Venkat Prabhu and hear from Christopher, and we'll call it a day. Venkat Prabhu, do you have your hand raised? Do you want to say something? Can you make it short, please?
I can't see him.
Oh.
It looks like his microphone is muted.
Yes. Venkat Prabhu, you want to say something?
Microphone's muted.
Yeah, your microphone's muted. Can you unmute yourself? Ask to unmute. So I asked you to unmute yourself.
Go to the microphone and click on it, and it will let you speak.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was a very detailed explanation. And I actually support what you told. It's absolutely correct what you have mentioned. But then always I being an Indian, and we have this notion in our mind that India is a holy land and there is no dearth of holy people in India. So why not we think like this, that there will be a pure devotee an upcoming acharya, or he's already there, and they are all on this planet. And then it's up to us to search them and ensure that they are connected to the sampradaya, and then inquire from them. Because what you mentioned,
What were you going to
we
inquire?
have
What do you want to
Zoom.
know that they don't, that Prabhupada has not already said in book or in tape,
No,
in person?
we always need a personal touch. We need personal touch, guidance. Everything has to be taught in person.
Oh, does it? Do you accept Thakur Bhakti as a bona fide acharya?
Yes, I do.
All right. He wrote, "He reasons ill who say Vaishnavas die when thou art living still and sound. Vaishnavas die to live, and living spread the holy life around." He was writing about his guru who lived hundreds of years before he was born. So he didn't need that personal touch. The personal touch is sound. The guru transfers. We don't need, if you want the personal touch of sound of a pure devotee, get a headset and Prabhupada tape or Prabhupada CD, or just tune into the internet. You can listen to Prabhupada 24/7. Why not? So personal touch is there. Personal doesn't mean physically personal. Look at us. Are we not having personal touch amongst ourselves right now?
Right. It is. Everything's
We are
personal.
having personal touch immediately here, and you're somewhere, everybody's somewhere else. So how can we distinguish that this personal touch is less than if somebody's sitting right at the feet of some guy sitting on a chair? Do you see, Venkat? What do you think?
Yes, Prabhu.
So do you see why you don't really need to search out personal association? The personal association is there. If you read Prabhupada's books,
Prabhu, I agree with what you said.
read Prabhupada's books
I'm not so
transparently,
lucky as you
he's
are.
there in his books. Go ahead, yes? Go ahead.
Nara Narayan Prabhu, I agree with what you said, but we are very unfortunate because I could not meet Srila Prabhupada as you met Srila Prabhupada.
I'd like to make a point
That
there.
has inspired you.
Why not? Why have you not met Srila Prabhupada? He's
Because
there.
born in 1986.
Yes, but you don't have to meet him physically. Do you realize that ISKCON movement is in great trouble? And it's all by people that were trained by Prabhupada starting at the very beginning of the movement in the early 1960s. And they came and now they've declared themselves to be gurus and to be the person that you're supposed to get in touch with. And they're not. They can't. They have no capacity. They have no propensity. They're just priests, like Catholic priests, Catholic Church. So where is this personal touch? You'll get more benefit from Prabhupada in sound vibration than you will from an ISKCON guru whose vapu is all over the big red chair.
Who knows what their vapu is? Because it might change tomorrow.
Yes. You see, so personal touch is an illusion in a sense, because personal means spiritually personal, not physically personal. If it's physical, then you're not going to get any advancement out of that touch. But if it's spiritual, then you don't require the physical body to get the touch. That touch comes regardless of physical body. You don't have to have a physical. And if you met Prabhupada and studied him carefully, which I tried to do, you could see that his physical body was not all that physical anyhow. He was transparently all sorts of things. I saw him in so many different aspects. And yet, when he wanted to, he could be a little old Indian gentleman from Calcutta that had gone to Christ Church College. So, Venkat Prabhu, what do you consider? Can you consider that the personal association of the guru doesn't require the vapu or the personal body of the guru?
Yes, Prabhu, I agree with that.
Okay, therefore, we don't need more acharyas, nor do we need to seek them out. If they are there, one thing is, when I first went to India in 1972, I was thinking, and after that, I was there for several years, and I went there off and on for 10 years, in fact. And I was thinking at the time, Prabhupada is a pure devotee. But India is a big place with a huge tradition of spiritual life.
Absolutely.
I mean, as you were saying, it's sacred land, the holy land of India, holy because of Bharat, holy because of it was the center of spiritual life. But that doesn't mean that other parts of the world can be spiritualized by chanting Hare Krishna. You could go to Alaska on an iceberg and chant Hare Krishna, and it becomes a spiritualized spiritual iceberg equal to India, I can assure you. So if I went to India and I was thinking, well, there must be other pure devotees, just like you were suggesting. There must be other acharyas, other pure devotees, but they're not being very conspicuous about themselves. But then I thought, we're in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. We're coming down from Lord Chaitanya. And this is the Yuga Dharma. The Yuga Dharma is chanting Hare Krishna. So if this is the Dharma for the Yuga, not just for a certain sect of Hare Krishnas, but the Yuga Dharma for everyone on earth, then whoever is propagating that Yuga Dharma must be the Acharya. And Prabhupada, of course, was sent by his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, to America. And we went through a whole thing. If you want to listen to the tape, it's pretty complicated. But how Prabhupada became, of all things, with his innocent, wonderful, loving nature, a contrarian. He went against every Vaishnava tradition that there is, practically speaking. Oh no, vegetarian, of course, prasadam, deity worship, of course. But who could do these things? Malachas, drug addicts, cigarette smokers. Cigarette smoker, Shamasunder cigarette smoking, carving Lord Jagannath. Big Jagannath. Not big, I mean, it's 3 feet high. I mean, how can you do that? Well, only contrarian. So Prabhupada came in contrary to the Vedic tradition, so much so that his own godbrothers, if they were at all spiritual, which they weren't, could punish him for what he was doing. Yet he was given that sanction by his spiritual master to be the contrarian. So I was thinking, where are all these other pure devotees in India? And I was thinking, well, they would have to be namacharya. They have to be able to spread Krishna consciousness in the form of the holy name, because it's the Yuga Dharma. Yuga is Kali Yuga. Dharma is the duty or religious practice for the age of Kali, is chanting Hare Krishna. Kaluba Nasteva 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 Gatirarata. There's no other way on top of that. Therefore, let me find these other pure devotees. But before I even got started, I said, wait a minute. If there's other pure devotees like Prabhupada, they would be doing what Prabhupada is doing. They would be opening up the world with Krishna conscious chanting. But they're not. And I said, well, Prabhupada had a guru. His guru had thousands of disciples. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had so many disciples in the mood of the Yuga Dharma. And where are they preaching? Where are they chanting? Oh, they go to their temple and they they just mutter. When I was in Mayapur, I wanted to walk along chanting japa in ecstasy at nighttime, because to me, the moon was the Lord Chaitanya, the air, everything I saw two trees that were standing together. I fell down on the ground because it seemed to me they were going to tie. I was so completely, not my idea, not my sahaja inclination. I just couldn't escape from the spirituality of Mayapur before anybody went there. I was one of the first people. I lived there by myself for a while on the land that we have. And so when I did that, I had to understand, where are these people, God brothers of Prabhupada? I went by one of their temples on the way to the Yoga Pith from our land up to the Yoga Pith in the direction of Krishnagar. The Yoga Pith means where Chaitanya was manifested, born, as it were, with their temples. And I came and I heard bong, 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 bong. So I came in there and I didn't interfere. I came in quietly and they were all concentrating. There was a deity in a temple, and there was a mandap, a pandal sort of thing over their heads to protect them from rain and whatnot. And they had a gong, bong, 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 bong. And they were chanting like that. And I said, these are the disciples of Prabhupada's spiritual master. Where's the kirtan? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Where's that? Hari Bol. Where's the ecstasy? Where's the dancing? Where are the tears? Where are falling down on the ground? Where's the mood of Chaitanya? Bong, 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 bong. Bong, 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 bong. These were his God brothers and God brothers' disciples. Nothing from the same thing. So I thought, then where is some other guru? Let me find another guru somewhere. I said, I'm too stupid. Why am I thinking I'm going to find another, what you're suggesting, another acharya? Where am I going to find another pure devotee? If he is actually acharya or pure devotee, you won't be surrounded by disciples screaming out the holy name of Krishna. End of story.
Jai.
So we see that Prabhupada did that. And he's the only one that did that. Out of thousands of disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada is the only one who did that. So, Venkat Prabhu, what do you think?
So nice, Prabhu, that you actually met Srila Prabhupada. But in my case, I was associated with Akshay Patra. I served them for 5 years.
Who?
And then the whole Ritvik thing seemed to be Akshay Patra, Madhu Pandit Das.
Oh, you were with Madhu Pandit?
Not directly with him, but down the hierarchy. I was serving for 5 years, but then there was something lacking, something which gave a feeling that we are actually not serving Srila Prabhupada, but serving the thoughts and ideas of Madhu Pandit. So that's the moment actually I left. And one of my friends suggested about Krishna Balram Swami, who is a Vrajavasi disciple of A.C.
Yes. Well, you see, the problem, I love Madhu Pandit. He's a very close personal friend of mine, I should add. But he was initiated by Jayapataka. And all of their kirtans, everything, they don't even chant the usually Prabhupada melody, etc. I could make that difference for him, and I intend to, with World Sankirtan movement, to go and create big 100,000 to 80,000 people in a soccer stadium, football stadium, in real football stadium, soccer meaning, and we'll chant Hare Krishna there and take turns, everyone take turns leading the kirtan. I did that myself in Jagannath Puri with the top pandas of the Jagannath Puri temple. That the son of the top panda was getting married. I was considered to be his best man in the marriage, in the wedding. He and I rode alone together in a gigantic limousine, followed by thousands of people. It was the biggest wedding in the second biggest wedding in the history of Jagannath Puri, modern Puri. The first one being a big wedding of a big drug dealer. So anyhow, of the Vaishnavas, it was an incredible wedding, and I was his best man. So we had a kirtan, and we were all chanting the Prabhupada melody only. And remember, the Pandits of Jagannath Puri are not big on chanting Hare Krishna mantra, like kirtan, like Lord Chaitanya, even though Chaitanya merged into Lord Jagannath when he disappeared from this planet. That's for them just another Jagannath pastime, another anecdote. It's not that they take it that seriously. They have their own things that they do. But in that wedding reception, it was not wedding reception, it was a bachelor party. We were chanting Hare Krishna there and handing the microphone around. One of my sons, my daughter was there, my adult daughter was there, and my son Kumalesha, my son Kirtiraj, my son excuse me, my son Dhananjaya, and we were there leading the kirtan. I was leading the kirtan, and then we handed the microphone around, and everyone could take a turn leading the kirtan. That's my idea for World Sankirtan in a big auditorium. They went mad. These were the people who put the jewelry on Lord Jagannath, who clothed Lord Jagannath. There's 32 societies. They call them families. They're genetic families, but they call them societies. They don't even talk to each other about it. They have, everything is all recorded in writing. So when somebody comes in, they don't have one person dressing Jagannath the way we do in our ISKCON temples. I asked them, I said, how many people are dressing the deity? Oh, a dozen are dressing the deity. A dozen? Why? In our ISKCON temples, just one person dresses the deity, Jagannath. He looked at me like, I love it the way the Pandas in Jagannath Puri look at you if you say something that they consider to be absurd. He looked at me like I'm crazy and said, one person? I said, yes, why not one person? He said, he would die. The energy of Jagannath is so intense that one is putting on one earring and the other is putting on another earring. One is putting on one ornament, the other is putting on another ornament. One's putting on one sleeve, the other one's putting on another sleeve. He said if they did not do it that way, they would die. The intensity is too much. That's amazing, huh?
Wow.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. So these pandas that put the gold legging on Jagannath, when he's trying to play the favorite with Lakshmi, who was annoyed beyond imagination that he went into Rath Yatra went to visit Radharani and the gopis. And she was so angry she wouldn't let him back into the temple. So he came and he did all sorts of cute things, including putting on huge solid gold shin protectors and was dancing wearing those until she finally, her heart melted and she allowed him back in. That guy that puts those gold things, he was chanting into the microphone. All the pujaris, everybody who was serving Lord Jagannath personally, cooking, etc., they were all, about 300, they were all chanting, taking turns, grabbing the microphone out of each other's hands so that they could lead the next time round. So what would happen is they would lead once, then everyone would chant together. They lead another time, everyone would chant together, just like in ISKCON Kirtan, except instead of one guy at the microphone boring everyone to tears, it would be each person taking up the microphone one after another and leading once. And it went around the circle several times for hours. My last recollection was the top panda, the father of the man that was getting married, and his second person in command holding the microphone, each one trying to take it out of the other one's hands. They ended up chanting together, leading the kirtan together in that one microphone. It was amazing. So That is what I expected to see, but only Prabhupada produced that outcome. And we did too, I did. We produced that outcome because that's what we wanted. But I didn't create that. They created it. Or you give the microphone, let him lead the kirtan. He's dreamed of it for lifetime, literally lifetimes. He dreams of leading the kirtan, and there's some big pandas leading the big Brahmins leading the kirtan. But no, but you give a man the microphone, you give a beggar the microphone. Where my brother recently passed away was in Punjabi Bagh in New Delhi. I would have everybody chanting. So all the brahmacharis, all the men, and the householder men, they would be chanting. Then I'd hand it to the women. They would lead. No one could believe that I would let the women lead the temple, kirtan in the temple. Not in regular kirtan, not like she's the pujari, she's the Brahmin, she's the new guru, the female guru or something. No, she grabbed the microphone, I handed the microphone, and then the children, I handed the microphone to the children. They would lead each time on the kirtans. And it was so ecstatic, guess what? They didn't want to stop. So a kirtan is supposed to go on for half an hour in an ISKCON temple, 3-4 hours, they couldn't stop. So that's my view. And I invite to share my view share the view that we'll share it all together and make it a global view and bring this World Sankirtan into temple, into auditoriums, soccer, football stadiums, meaning soccer, and we will all chant together and tell everybody in the world, either directly in our auditorium, in our football stadiums, or indirectly through the internet, through YouTube, through Facebook. I like to think of one Chinese man standing way up in a rice paddy trying to irrigate his rice crop on a hillside. You know, they have trenches going down the hillside so they can farm with water on the hillside. He's standing there and he picks up the one electronic things he has, which of course is his iPhone. He picks it up and he's listening, and somebody in ecstasy is sending him, his cousin, friend of a cousin who got it from a friend of a friend of a friend of another cousin. He recorded that kirtan in that World Sankirtan football auditorium, and then he is hearing the holy name of Krishna in a rice paddy, and that's the only thing he's got. He doesn't even have electric lights in his house. All he has is a little way of generating electricity to charge his iPhone. Can you imagine that? That's how we make the world Krishna conscious. And that doesn't require more than Prabhupada. That is Prabhupada. That is the fulfillment of Prabhupada. Let's not think small. Let's think globally. Big. Why? Because Prabhupada is not yet manifested. Oh, he was a little guru, he sat on a Vyasasana, and da-da-da. No. Prabhupada will be manifested through hundreds of millions of people chanting the holy name of Krishna using his melodies only. Do you get a nice idea, Venkat Prabhu? Do you like?
Prabhu, it's getting late. It's 10 o'clock here in California. So we'll continue a session tomorrow. Venkat Prabhu, please join us tomorrow. Your question about Krishna Balaram Swami, we can discuss that tomorrow. Regarding the qualifications of an Acharya or a Diksha Guru, we have covered that, and I'll send you some links. So kindly message me on WhatsApp. Thank you very much, Christopher.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jai. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.